Hey guys, what's going on? It's Salvage here, and today we're going to be talking about Gotham Knights again and a few topics that are obviously in the title. Before we get into that, go ahead and leave a like. Let's try to get to 200 likes again. You guys killed it on the last video. It was amazing. Go ahead and subscribe if you're new as well. It always helps the algorithm, and I really would appreciate it. Thank you guys. So let's get into this. So honestly, I've been hearing a lot of topics and rumors about how one of the Gotham Knights might potentially be the Batman at the end of Gotham Knights. Like whoever character you pick in the beginning is eventually going to slowly arc their way towards being Batman at the end. And personally, I think that that would be a very interesting twist on the mythology of Batman dying, and maybe even like in many ways doing the Battle of the Cowl, where a lot of them are just like trying to pick which one is going to be the best Batman for the future. I think that would be amazing, and I think that would be a really good twist. Another thing that they can do, which I think would be very interesting, is maybe even having like Damian Wayne show up and him trying to be the new Batman, and maybe like a genetically modified version, kind of like the Heretic was, and of course some of the Batman stories where Damian Wayne dies. That'd be interesting to see Damian Wayne get introduced as somebody who can take up the mantle of the Batman and potentially might in a future game. That'd be really fun to see. Personally, I think that might be a little be tricky to do because, you know, the whole League of Assassins thing, like we heard that Damian might potentially be in the game. Like they didn't want to spoil it, kind of like what they did with Harley Quinn. And then like 2 weeks later, they reveal Harley Quinn. I think they're going to be doing the same with Damian, but they're not going to reveal him within the marketing. But he could be in the game. And I think that he might be one of the villains that we fight in the game if the League of Assassins is in the game, which I've been teased before. So I think that would be an interesting way to kind of bring back, quote, Batman in many ways. But also, I think also having the Gotham Knights potentially be a future Batman, like having maybe Batgirl wind up being Batwoman, or like Nightwing has to slowly develop and be Batman, or same thing with Red Hood and same thing with Robin. You know, it'll be very interesting to see how they would be able to pull those story arcs together, because we know that each character has their different dialogue within the stories. So all of them are going to be acting different. So it could potentially be the case where at the end they all kind of, each of them might become Batman if you play as them. I think that would be really fun to see, and that would really help at least many people realize that Batman is dead, and maybe the next game that they do, they will have Batman, but it's just like a different Batman. One of the Gotham Knights becomes a Batman, and then you get to play as them. That would be fun to see. And back to the League of Assassins, I think that that's one of the villains that we need to see, or at least one of the villains that I want to see. Like, I don't know about you, but having like a Court of Owls versus League of Assassins moment, where maybe the Court of Owls, like after killing Batman, are going to come into Gotham and try to take over Gotham, but then of course the League of Assassins have their own plan to like take over Gotham and destroy Gotham and rebuild it. So that'd be a cool dynamic to see between the Court of Owls and the League of Assassins with the Gotham Knights in the mix, kind of like having that brewing war where Nightwing and Robin and that group has to stop that brewing war. That'd be interesting to see. I think that that actually might be something that they do, and considering the fact that they have mentioned at least the League of Assassins and the Jason Todd or Red Hood story like details, I think that the possibility of them showing up is incredibly possible. And plus them mentioning Damian Wayne before in the game, or at least in interviews, makes me very speculative. Like I'm really wondering why they even brought him up to begin with, and I really hope that like in some way they bring in that character, because having Damian Wayne show up without Bruce Wayne's guidance, it would be a very interesting thing to see in this universe. And I really hope they go for the more obscure villains and kind of like in many ways try to make them a little bit more serious, like Kite Man. Like I think that would be incredibly fun as a character to kind of explore and make like mini arcs with. Or even they could bring back Polka Dot Man and try to have him have a different origin story, kind of like what he did with Suicide Squad, where of course his mom made him into like that superpower being that wanted to be a hero, but he turned out to be a villain. That would be fun to see, kind of Polka Dot Man go through a type of like a transformation like that. Fuck, give us Condiment King. And I feel like Condiment King and all these wacky villains kind of fit this world perfectly. Like, especially with the dialogue that we've been hearing. Like, the thug dialogue is so fucking stupid that I can see Kite Man flying in and being like, hell yeah, and just being like stupid as shit. That would be so fun to see. Same thing with Condiment King, same thing with Polka Dot Man. These characters, while being goofy and one of the worst like villains in history, could obviously still like at least have some type of material there for a very interesting arc. And I hope that in the future that they actually do that. If not in the main game, then maybe in some DLC too. That'd just be really funny to see. I kind of hope they bring in like some Nightwing villains or some Red Hood villains, or even like, you know, just like obscure villains from the Teen Titans. Like maybe bring back Deathstroke and have him fight off against like Nightwing and have him, you know, have that type of history. Or even Electrocutioner. That's also a Nightwing villain that, you know, we've seen in Arkham Origins, but we've never really seen fight off against Nightwing. And I think that that'd be a really fun dynamic. Have a bunch of Red Hood and the Outlaw villains come in. You know, have like Robin, Tim Drake's villains come in. Like that would be fun. Batgirl as well. She has plenty of villains that you could bring in. And I think that exploring like, you know, their side of the mythology would be also nice to see, instead of just taking Batman's villains and being like, well, what if they fought the Bat family without Batman? Like that's an interesting concept, but I would also like to see some of the other villains from the other mythologies from these superheroes to kind of be blended into, so we could actually have a little bit more variety than just Batman villains. You know, Nightwing, while he doesn't have the best villains, there are still some that you could pull from and take inspiration from, and I hope that they kind of do that. I am personally looking forward to the villains of this game because, like, Clayface and Harley Quinn, I mean, we've already gotten many confirmations that, and even Mr. Freeze, that, of course, they're not going to just be one-off boss battles in this game. There are going to be multiple levels where you fight these guys, where they potentially get away, and then you have to go and investigate them and find them some more. And I think like that is one of the best things they could have done with this, because again, with Arkham Knight, when it was just like, oh, it's Hush, oh, you just slam him through a table, oh, that's it, like that was disappointing. And a lot of the boss battles and a lot of the missions, the side missions for Arkham Knight were really disappointing. Like Firefly, for example. He was just going around burning buildings. There was no arc, there was no story there. He was just burning fire, fucking houses. That was it. That's all he was doing. Whatever fire station that he was at, that he was destroying, there was no background story, there was nothing there. So WB Montreal doing this, giving these villains like more time to shine throughout the game, rather than just doing it when the mission becomes available and then you just finish the mission and it's over, like that's something that I want to see. In many ways, I guess kind of like the Season of Infinity kind of did that in Arkham Knight, where they gave us multiple branching moments within the side mission where you go off and you do something else within like the city, where like Ra's al Ghul, you go and visit him, and then you have to go and like grab some Lazarus material, and then you have to come back. Like that was fun. Killer Croc, where you have to go and save the parachuted police officers. Like that was also very entertaining to do. Roaming around the city, constantly trying to stop crime, and also having the dynamic of an arc there for the villains is something that I think a lot of people wanted to see for a long time, and that's something that is a very interesting thing to do for these characters. And I cannot wait to see how each Knight member actually interacts with these characters throughout the story, because I'm going to be playing all of them all at once. Like, not all at once, but one at a time. So it might go like Batgirl, Nightwing, Red Hood, Robin, or something. And then I'll play through all of them. And I want to see like the different dialogue options or the different moments within the characters that they present. I personally can't wait for that. Like, that's probably my most excited thing about this game, is that you get to play these villains multiple times, or play against these villains multiple times, and that they actually have a story behind them than just like a one-off mission. Yeah, I can't wait for this game personally. It's like a month away, literally 1 month away. Like next month, this time, tomorrow, we are going to be playing this game. So it's going to be really fun. It's very interesting, and I cannot wait to see what they do with all of these characters once they actually present them within the game. So tell me what you guys think in the comments below. What villains do you guys want to see, and what do you think about having a new Batman kind of present himself within this game, whether it be the Knights or Damian Wayne or even Batman himself, just in a different form? What would you like to see, and how would you guys like to see it? Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more videos in the future, and I will see you guys in my next one. Peace out.